Welcome to Crafting Party of One with Amanda. Hi, you've reached Amanda with Crafting Party of One. Today's special beer is Pumpkin, still from Southern Tier Brewing. We're going to stick with them for another couple of weeks. You can see tonight we have a guest visitor. He's going to be checking out how to work the Cricut. So earlier in the week I promised you a video about how to do iron-on vinyl, and I had some technical difficulties. So tonight we're going to go ahead and rework that video. I'm going to use some footage from the previous work with the Cricut, so you can see how the Cricut part of it worked. Tonight you're just going to see how I do the iron-on. So without further ado, here we go. Okay, so for those of you who haven't already used a Cricut or are just trying to check it out and see if it's something you'd be interested in, you have to go to Cricut.com and then you sign up for a Cricut account, and you can use their design space to create your projects. You can see down here I already have a healthy number of projects that I've started. But in this situation we're going to go to a new project. Now, I've posted recently that I have a hard time making my own SVG files. In order to use and create your own SVG files, you have to use some kind of a publishing tool such as Photoshop. And while I'm still learning how to work Photoshop, using some pre-created items that you can purchase from people in Etsy stores really goes a long way toward helping you create your projects quicker if you're just not a Photoshop type person. And for this situation, that's what I've done. So in order to start a new project, we're using a cut file that I've downloaded from someone else. I'm going to go to Upload, and you can see I already have my image here that I'd like to use. So we're going to choose this one, and then we're going to choose Insert Images. So sometimes what I'll do when I'm trying to create something new is I'll go to the Templates option, and I've never put a design on a raglan style t-shirt, and that's what I've picked up today. So they're also known as baseball t-shirts. And what that'll do is it leaves a template for you. And you can see here, you can see the very, very faint outline of your shirt and what it will look like with the design on it. Now, this doesn't guarantee sizes or anything like that. There are a ton of websites you can go to that will give you ideas on how big your design or decal needs to be depending on what type of shirt it is and what kind of shirt and what size shirt. So right now I'm going to go out here and look up the size of a decal for a women's size large raglan shirt. So Cricut HTV decal size large raglan shirt. Pinterest is your best friend in these situations, so I'm just going to go ahead and choose this item, this HTV sizing. And you're going to want to make sure that you find one that's for adult sizes, not for children's sizes. Now I'm going to go ahead out to this website. Now you might already have these saved to your Pinterest board because you're trying to find new things to make and be creative. So it looks like our item needs to be at least 11 inches wide. Now I'm cutting mine with two different colors, so I look like I'm at about 10.432 inches across here, and I'm at about 11.199 here, and I'm happy with that size. So I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm going to come over here to these group options, and I'm going to choose this one so that only it is highlighted. You can see the box has changed here, now it's only here, so that I can change the color here to something different. Whatever color you'd like it to be, and I think that's how I'm going to do that one. And then I'm going to choose over here to my group, I'm going to go to the one with the letters, and I'm going to change that to maroon. My Sun School colors are maroon and gold. And I'm going to do the same here. This is on the box again. You can see it's moved. So if you go up here to line type, there's a color box, and you can change whatever colors you have this to. Now this doesn't necessarily dictate what color it needs to be. It's basically for your reference. You can put whatever colors you would like on your Cricut sheets once you're ready to cut. So this is what my final item is going to look like. So we're going to go ahead to the Make It option up here in the right hand corner. Now you can see it's got everything sorted by color, so it tells you where on the page it's going to be cut out at. So if you're like me and you like to save money on your vinyl and only cut out what you need, you know exactly how big your decal is to make it print. Now you can see here that these dots have changed and everything is moved, and you don't want that to happen, and the same has happened here. You don't want that to happen when you're doing a heat transfer vinyl item, because you want it to look exactly as it did previously. So we're going to go down here and choose cancel and cancel this cut, and it's going to take us back to our project. We're going to highlight the whole project and come over here and click weld, and what that's going to do is make it all one color, which is also something you don't want to do. So we're going to undo that event, and then you can see over here everything went down to one piece. So what we need to do is collect only the options that we want to put welded together. So that'll be everything that's in red, so all of your letters, and we'll weld that. Okay, so you can see now your colors have all stayed different. Now we're going to highlight just here, so only our shape is marked, and also weld that so that it prints exactly as it is. So now you'll notice when we go back to the Make It option, everything looks exactly as it did on your previous screen, with the exception of your other item being moved down to this product, this mat, because you want it in a different color. Now, this page, obviously, I'm just going to use an entire 12 by 12 piece of maroon colored vinyl. So I've got my Cricut sheet here. The Cricut sheet is a sticky, like adhesive item that holds your vinyl in place while the Cricut is cutting it. Oh, that IPA is fantastic. So the first thing we're going to do is take this clear plastic off. This just protects your Cricut sheet from getting any weird, like if you have pet's dog hair or fuzz or even just dust attached to it. Now, if you look closely at this, you can see that this is Sizer's heat transfer vinyl. You can buy it at Michael's. It costs a little bit more, but it's very easy to work with. I've never had any trouble with it lifting after washing, and I highly, highly recommend it. You can see here we have a dull side and a shiny side. You're going to want to cut this shiny side down. So you're going to put the shiny side down on your sticky mat. Because this clear part here, there's a clear cover here, and that's why it's shiny. It works as what we call transfer paper. So when it cuts out and it's ready to go and you've weeded all the extra vinyl off, you'll peel it up and then put it down against your item, and it'll come out perfectly straight, because we're going to do what's called mirroring here on the screen. So you just click this button, and what it does is flip everything backwards so that it'll apply correctly and print correctly when the time comes for you to apply it to your product, whatever it may be. So I am going to get out my scissors for lack of another item here. And I'm sure there's a more sophisticated way to go about doing this, but this is what I'm going to do right now, because I don't have my ruler handy. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because you have a little bit of space to play with, so I'm not super concerned about it. So I'm just going to cut off what I need from this. Now, to be fair, HTV is kind of expensive, and like I said, if you buy the cheaper stuff, it's not exactly going to do everything that you expect it to do, which is why I don't mind spending a little bit of extra on this brand, because it just, everything comes out just perfect. Now, like I said, remember, you have to apply it shiny side down, and it's very sticky. So you're going to want to try and get it as straight as possible. Because the machine knows that these grid lines are here that measure out on this sticky page. They call these cutting mats, by the way. And that's how it tells where to cut and what gets cut out of what piece of the vinyl. So you have to be very careful about how you apply it. If it's off a little bit, it's not a big deal. But if it's off a lot, you might end up accidentally cutting right off of your vinyl mat that you put down. You're going to want to make sure it's on here smoothly so that the cutting machine doesn't encounter any air bubbles that'll make it have issues cutting it out. Now see, you can see here that my cut is not straight, but that's not a big deal because my decal is not going to go down that far. So you're going to want to rub the air bubbles out. And then you'll just turn on your Cricut machine. And then you're going to choose continue. And you have to wait a minute while your laptop recognizes your machine. While you're waiting, always make certain that your material is set the correct item that you're cutting. On the Cricut Explore Air 2, just cut a ton of different things. But since we're cutting iron-on right now, we're going to move it to that iron-on setting. And you can see when I change that setting that the computer tells me, tells me to make sure I have mirrored my item and that my material is shiny side down. To load the mat, I'm going to press these blinking double arrows. And now we're going to press the Cricut button. And away we'll go. And the machine does all the rest. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for that to go, I'm going to get the gold that I need loaded onto my other Cricut mat. Obviously I don't need the long one, so I'm going to switch over to a smaller one. And you can see where the Cricut program keeps you up to date as to how much progress you've made on your item, which is also nice. If you've got other things you want to work on, you can just keep an eye on that out of the corner of your eye, and it's a big helpmate. And then we're just going to do the same thing with the gold color that we've done with the maroon color. So I'm going to come down here real quick and see what the sizing is on this. And I know it's hard to see, but it's about 5 inches wide and a little over 6 inches long. So we're going to go ahead and put the 7 inches in there and see where we can go from there. Now you can see this one has a white back to it. I grabbed the wrong vinyl. But it's still dull side, shiny side. So you're always going to want to do the shiny side down. Almost all the vinyl you can get is always going to be 12 inches across. More of your issue is going to be your length. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut out this 5x6 piece here. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as I have enough overlap that it doesn't go off of the vinyl, I should be fine. Obviously, if you want it to be perfect, please by all means make it that way. I'm just not that crazy about worrying about this, about having a little bit of overlap. I don't want to waste all of it, mind you, but a little bit isn't a big deal for me. The amount that you're going to find in your trash can after you take all the extra out is going to blow your mind anyway, so you might as well just prepare yourself for it now. I have discovered that the plastic grocery bag holders from IKEA work perfectly to hold a roll of sizer heat transfer vinyl. So I went and bought a ton of those, and that's what I use to store my vinyl now. The machine will automatically ask for your next piece when it's ready for it. And it'll spit this one out and tell you it's all done. I know that I'm normally a slouchy type person, but I gotta tell you, this IKEA is something to write home about. Also, Noble Creature is located in an old church in Youngstown, not far off YSU campus. And the interior is just gorgeous. So you can see now we're at 100% and it tells you to unload your mat. And in order to do that, we're going to hit the white blinking arrow button. We're going to take that mat out. We're going to load the next mat in that has our other color. I want to confirm that my mirror is on, and I'm going to load my item. And we're going to press go. So, in the meantime, I will show you, we can do away with the laptop now. The problem with vinyl, and I wouldn't even call it a problem, it's more of a task, a tedious thing, is that you have to do what's called weeding. And weeding is basically just what they call the practice of pulling all the extra vinyl off. For the most part, it's not a big deal, it's not hard to do. Just tedious, a little time consuming. If you're not a patient person, it makes it a little rough. And if you have a lot of small, okay, we're all done with this one now too. If you have a lot of small pieces to your project, it can get a little frustrating. I'm just going to put this away so you can get a good idea, a good clear shot of what I'm doing. So I've picked up the edge with my Cricut weeding tool, and it's just got a little pointed end on it. You don't have to use Cricut brand if you don't want to. I'm using them because I found them pretty cheap. I bought them used when I was first starting out. So all we're going to do now is just pull, and hope that we don't pull up any of our design. That's the hard part, is not pulling your design up with your leftover. For the most part, it does pretty good, which is another reason why I love sizer heat vinyl, or HTV as they call it, easy weed, because it pulls so easily, and it cuts very cleanly, and I really like the product. And like I said, it's not cheap, but it is worth every penny. So you can see here, it's catching a little bit, so I'm going to just pull out my little weeder and pull up that little spot there so it doesn't pull up the whole design. Okay, so one thing that I've learned working with heat transfer vinyl is that you want to cut out all of the extra clear plastic that you can, because it helps you figure out where you want to keep this on your article of clothing. It really messes with the eye if you still have a piece of plastic there, and you're kind of centering the plastic rather than your words, and you don't end up having everything where you want it to be. So I'm just going to trim this up, and then also I forgot to mirror my word my, so I need to cut my letters out separately and iron them on. So So that should be fun. So I'm just going to trim this out. Now, don't go crazy. I mean, I'm not going to take all the plastic out from in between the letters where it's extra, but I am on these letters just since I have to put them on separately. So what I'm going to cut out is this area right here. Now, my way isn't necessarily the right way. You know, everybody's got their own way of handling vinyl and doing the things that they like to do. This is just the way I like to do it. To be fair, this is only like my 4th shirt, so like I said, you'll find your own way to do things, and you find what you're comfortable with, and that's what you stick with. So in my previous video, my technical difficulties included my video camera actually going dead because I was apparently not prepared. So you're going to notice that the colors on this shirt are a little different than what I started with on my screen and what I was pulling out of my vinyl. And for that I apologize, but it is essentially still the exact same shirt, just a different set of vinyl letters. I'm going to follow the same process, except the shirt that I'm making today is on like an Under Armour type material. And when you're using an Under Armour type material, you have to be careful because the heat from the iron will discolor the fabric. So I'm going to use it on a slightly lower temperature than I normally would. Normally I use it somewhere between the cotton and linen settings. Tonight I have it between the cotton and wool settings, which is a little bit lower, I hope. I don't know a whole lot about irons, so we're just going to see what happens. The shirt that I'm making is a navy blue. It's for my dad's girlfriend, and her kids' school, their colors are blue and yellow. So we went with a blue shirt and then white and yellow lettering. Now, when you're making things with 2 different color vinyl, you'll notice, of course, that your design isn't going to print on one page since you have to use both different colors. So you can see the field and the heart shape printed together because they were both yellow, but it's not really the order they're going to be in on the shirt. Now, I know I posted a photo of a shirt where I did layered vinyl, and I will tell you it was a learning experience for me. And I didn't do a lot of research beforehand, and I will tell you that I did discover that you're going to want to use a lower heat temperature when you put the 2nd and or 3rd, if you have a 3rd, layers of heat transfer vinyl on, because it will bubble. And this plastic tape here will leave marks on the layer underneath if you press too hard, because the layer underneath also gets soft. So just some learning things. Thankfully, my son's girlfriend was ecstatic with her shirt, and of course said yes to go to homecoming, so we have that coming up for us next month, which is always exciting. You'll notice that I am back to my stouts in this video as opposed to the beginning where I was drinking an IPA. Well, it's not really a stout, I'm sorry, it's an Imperial Pumpkin Ale. One of my favorite fall beers ever. I highly recommend it, but it is a strong one. So if you're not a big fan of the stronger beers, if you like something that's more of a, you know, sit and drink it all day type of thing instead of have one and switch to water, then it might not be the beer for you. Devin, what did you think about learning how to use the Cricut machine there?
It was very cool to learn. Very.
What kind of things do you think we could use it for?
The Cricut, I think that we could probably use it to, like, put vinyl on a laptop or more shirts. Maybe on stuff like maybe jars.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Make some Christmas decorations.
Nice.
Some that are...
So, like, you mean these giant sleds that I have over here?
Yes. The
We can
giant
put
studs.
something on those.
Yeah.
I was thinking I might do one for family vacation, Christmas vacation. We're going to do the Griswold family car with the big old Christmas tree that hangs off both ends. And then I thought I would layer one of the funny quotes from the movie over top of it. What do you think?
That's nice.
Think that'll turn out funny?
You know what we need to do this year?
What?
We need to put as many Christmas lights as they did on our house.
That's a dangerous endeavor. Can you grab that shirt?
Yes. There you go.
So I just picked this up at Walmart. It's not a super heavy material, which I know my dad's girlfriend will be happy with because it's exactly what she was looking for when she told me to pick up a blue navy shirt. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the tags off so they don't get in the way of the shirt laying flat. Now another thing I'll tell you, when you're using Sizer heat vinyl, that's the only brand that I use, at least for clothing anyways. When you're using Sizer heat transfer vinyl, they do suggest that you use like parchment paper over top of it, like to use as kind of a protective layer. And I'm definitely going to do that with this shirt because not only is it going to keep, hopefully keep the shirt from discoloring, it also keeps my iron safe. Now I'm not one of those people that thinks that iron-on vinyl isn't safe for my iron, but I still would very much prefer to be using a shirt press right now. I just don't have one. So let me straighten the camera back out here a little bit. Sorry, gang.
Technical difficulties.
Yep.
Such a pain.
That happens. There we go. Okay, so I know you can't see it really well, but I have flattened out the shirt. There are plenty of charts on Pinterest you can look up that will tell you exactly where to put your design, like in relationship to the neckline of a shirt, or the hemline of the shirt, depending on where you want it to be. So right now I'm just layering my letters on. I will do a dizzying thing and pick up the camera and move it so that you can see everything once I get everything positioned where I want it to be. Now I think I've layered this just a little too low, so I'm going to bring it up a little bit. And I know, of course, that definitely means you're not going to be able to see what it looks like, so we'll move the camera and get you a good shot of it before we iron everything on.
That looks very nice.
Thank you, Devin.
You're welcome.
And thanks for being on my little show tonight.
You're welcome as
It
well.
means a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, that's too far down.
That looks pretty good to me.
Now it does. It was overlapping the letter.
Uh,
Okay, bear with my terrible camera skills here for a minute, and I'll get this flipped around so you can see.
I'll hold it.
It's okay. We got it.
Okay.
You're right. You're right. You're good. I'm just trying to get him a view of the shirt here.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you can see it because I can't see my screen, but I've got this all centered. They say to put it about 3.5 inches below the neckline. I think it's a little too low for a woman to be wearing a shirt. I think we're good where we're at. I think it's pretty centered. I'm a big fan of eyeballing things. If you're more comfortable not eyeballing, of course you can measure and make certain that things are where you want them to be. And it's not a huge deal. So I'm going to hand Devin the camera now, and we're going to see about getting a good shot of me getting these pressed on. So just hold on one moment. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to take these things on the bottom off, and we're going to start our way at the top and then work our way down. I'm going to put these on all at once just because it's easier that way. You want to try not to iron over things that you've already ironed, but I mean, it happens. It's really hard not to, especially if you're doing a slightly bigger design. You want to use your iron with no steam. Steam's going to mess up your process. So it's literally what we're going to do. Iron on, I'm going to press it. So I'm going to put my iron down on a section, And I'm going to lean on it and count to about 16 seconds or so. It's not the most exciting process. If I had a t-shirt press, we'd be done already because I would have been able to do all of the design at once. But I think that having to do it this way gives it a bit of a personal bent because you're doing a lot more work than you would with a commercial press, and it gives you a little bit more control over the process, I think, too. But I don't know, what that means. So now I'm going to look and make sure that I didn't discolor the shirt. And I did. Hopefully that'll come out if I wash it. We'll have to see. If it doesn't, I'll just have to pick up another shirt and try again. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit more. Maybe not leave it on quite so long. This is all trial and error. Still left a mark. Hopefully when it cools it'll fade. Just gonna have to wait and see. There's no way to know. Might have to stick with the plain old cotton shirts, but everything's a process. Everything's a learning event for me because I've never really done a whole lot of these things before, so we'll all learn together. How about that? You notice I'm not holding it down quite as long as I was, in hopes that if we do it in small jogs and let the shirt cool in between, it won't discolor, but it doesn't look like we're going to get that lucky, and I don't think this is sticking. So,
keep trying.
Let's just hope that a good wash will take care of it. See, this is probably going to lift. So, Jody, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I'm going to put it in the washer and see what happens. Now, other crafters don't do this. They actually recommend that you don't slide your iron across, but these are already down pretty good. I'm just doing a last pass here. I haven't noticed any trouble by doing that. It makes me feel a little bit more secure in what I'm doing. So, now this transfer paper is hot when the iron comes off of it, just like anything else would be. So, watch your fingers. Maybe wait for it to cool if you're more comfortable with that.
That looks awesome.
Okay, so now we're going to proceed with the next line. I guess that discoloration isn't that bad. Maybe it'll come out. Does that look centered to you, buddy? Did you just take a picture of my leg?
No, I did not just take a picture of your leg.
Okay. I think that looks alright.
Alright, can go down just a
I don't want it to go down. I'm happy with that where it's at.
It's been awesome.
Okay. So, see, you can see here we're going to end up re-ironing over this, but there's some transfer paper, like some plastic over top of it, so it could be worse. We're going to be happy with that. You just want to make sure you get all of it. If you're more comfortable doing smaller parts at a time, you can always cut in between the words and do them each separately. I'd like to think that as a 4-shirt veteran, I can do okay with doing it this way, but I mean, it is what it is.
From under the paper, it looks nice.
Thanks, buddy.
Looks centered.
And again, this is not my design. I did purchase it from an Etsy store, and once my blog is up and running, which we are working on, I will post a link to that store. They had tons of cute files. Okay. Sorry about that little hiccup. I am apparently incapable of technology this week, so we're just gonna have to go with what we got, and it is what it is. Alright, so now we're putting down our last little decal here. Just more of the same. Press and check. Press and check. Hope you haven't left a mark. Drink your beer and pray. I mean, there's always that option. It is what it is.
But watching you do this is giving me a lot of experience.
I'm glad you're learning from me, buddy.
Yes. My teachers at school aren't the only people that are teaching me.
It'd be a shame if you had to learn how to iron your own clothes just from watching this. I mean, I could do that for you. No? I mean, I could let you do the ironing. You don't want to do that? The people need to know, dude.
I guess.
So, it seems, like I said, this is a learning experience for all of us. It seems that this dry fit fabric doesn't take as long to sit down. Everything is seated, it's stuck, and I would say that this is a complete project. Jody, if you're watching, ta-da!
And never mind.
Alright guys, do you have any questions about my mess of a video or what Devin and I have shown you today? Feel free to reach out to me on any of my social media. There are links to them all on my webpage. It's www.craftingpartyof1.com. And keep an eye out for my next vlog. Stay crafty, my friends.